Right, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, Amen. Guys, 3 signs that God might want you to stay single right now. And I want to quickly introduce this topic before we dive in, because you might be thinking, does this apply to me? You're a regular viewer of my channel. You may or may not be in a relationship. You already probably know what I'm going to talk about. But here's something where if you don't learn from it, you can then go take this to someone else. So many kids are in relationships from a very young age, 14, 15, 16. You can take some of these concepts and give them to a younger person. Secondly, we need to understand what the purpose of a relationship is for before we can look at whether I should be single or be dating. A man is a leader. The man within a relationship is a leader, and he's got to be leading it somewhere. A relationship is not for your satisfaction. It's not for her satisfaction. It's not just something that people do. You need to be very intentional about stepping into a committed relationship with a girl and that you're going to lead her somewhere. And ultimately, I hope that that is marriage and that is God. But if those things are not your purpose, then I'm going to ask you, why are you in a relationship? Because if it's not for those things, or if you're 15 and you still have absolutely no idea whether or not you even want to get married or what you're going to do with your life, the reality is that you have no business being with a girl, that you need to work on yourself. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. But there are 3 very specific signs that I would say you need to be aware of and you need to keep in mind when thinking about whether or not to enter in a relationship. Or maybe you're in a relationship now and you're asking a few questions of yourself. Firstly, sexual sin. If you're not chaste alone, you will not be chaste with her, or it's going to be very difficult for you to be so. There's so many guys that struggle with pornography, they struggle with lust, they struggle with self-abuse, masturbation, and you cannot bring that into a relationship with a girl. Number 1, because it poisons the way that you will look at her. I don't care how noble your intentions are, I don't care how much willpower you think you have. If you can't control yourself when you're by yourself and you can't fight off that temptation, you're just putting both of yourselves at serious moral danger when you spend time together. And you know, in the modern world, within relationships, there's not a lot of firm physical boundaries. It's not really something that's present within the culture. And that's why you have to be very careful of how much self-possession that you have. But it's not even just about potentially sinning with her, is that it really corrupts your eye, it corrupts your gaze. You know, Christ said that anyone who lusts in his heart has already effectively committed adultery with the woman. And he says that if your eye is darkened, then your whole body will be evil. But if your eye is light, then your body will be filled with light. And it really comes with your ability and duty as a man to direct your gaze to noble things. And if you're struggling with this, which is the most basic, most concupiscent, just lustful, fleshly activity, you really need to ask yourself, do I have any business being with a girl right now if I'm struggling with this? And I don't say this because, I'm coming from some sort of self-righteous position. It needs to be said. This is not talked about anywhere in any church, in any sort of relationship advice video or whatever. You can't lead a woman to holiness if you can't lead yourself. And coming back to that concept at the top of the video, you are the leader of the relationship. No one else. Not the girl, not your parents, not you're the priest. It's you. You're the one spending the time. You're the one having the conversations. You're the one leading the relationship. So lead and figure out where the hell you're going. Number 2. Where does your joy and purpose come from? Man, this is a huge one. There could be a guy who's not struggling with number 1, but it might be a bad relationship for him if he doesn't understand where his true joy and purpose comes from. And this is what God teaches us in periods of singleness. He teaches us not to chase after the relationship, not to chase after the girls. And if we are, maybe that speaks to the fact that we're taking inordinate, so a disordered amount of validation or affirmation from the relationship, from the texting, from the pursuit, from trying to get with this girl. We have an attachment to it. There's a sense of restlessness. It's something that you can't stop thinking about. You're spending more time thinking and strategizing and worrying about the relationship that you have with this girl or with this guy before you're worrying about your relationship with God. So part of what that state of singleness is for, and maybe that's where you need to spend more time in it, is actually learning to take your joy and purpose from God and your mission. A woman is not a mission in and of herself. You have your mission. You have your vocation. You have your call to holiness. And the woman comes in and supports that. And hopefully you're aligned enough with your mission and your values that it's a really fruitful and loving and supportive relationship. But if I don't have this locked down first, it's not like the woman's going to make me happy. A woman is a woman. She's a creature. Okay? She's a creature just like us. They're amazing creatures. They're beautiful. They're emotional. They're loving. They're very helpful. But they're not God. It's as simple as that. And if you haven't learned to take that validation and affirmation from things that are higher than what is here in this world, then you're going to hit a dead end sooner or later. And it's very, very important that you have this sorted out to where it's like, you might want to get married, you might want to date, but if there's no girls around, you shouldn't be super stressed or unhappy or demotivated, because you understand where your joy and purpose comes from. Now, in terms of trying to find a girl and all of that, I have other videos about it. I'm not saying if it is the right time for you to date and you do want to get married, of course you've got to be intentional in pursuing that. But there's a difference when you're chasing female validation. And I'll drop you a quick resource if you search up the Fit for the Kingdom podcast, which is this logo. I think it was episode 25 that we did on female validation. So that's like a 30-minute podcast on the topic. Very helpful. And finally, he is forming you. If you are still inadequate, you still lack formation, whether that be physical, intellectual, moral, financial, you're still very much in a time of building yourself up. That could be a sign that you need to hold off a bit. You don't need to hit everything at once. Like you turn 18, you're studying, you're working, you want to get in a relationship, you want to get married. It's too much. Human beings progress. Most young teenagers, with all due respect, do not get much formation in any of these regards when they come out of school. I made incredible progress from 18 to 22. Like I'll tell you, I was unrecognizable by the end of those 4 years. A lot of my growth and development and understanding and ideas and personality, it all came after. So give yourself time to grow. He is forming you into the kind of man your future wife deserves. And you may have a keen awareness that you're not ready. Let me give you an example. If you've finished school and you've gone into uni and you've got a 3-year degree and you're finding it pretty difficult, just focus on your studies. Pray every day, go to the gym, learn from those studies, not just the study itself, but learn the virtue, the discipline, the perseverance, the focus, all of that. It's only 3 years. That's nothing. It'll go by before you know it. 3, 4, 5 years, it doesn't really matter. But really take that time and intentionally use it as a period of growth. God is forming you in the situation that you're in now, in the job that you're in now. And it's very possible that that's where he wants you at the moment. Every door keeps closing. It's kind of that thing, if you're super busy and stressed and still trying to figure out something like university, or figure out your job, or figure out your profession, deal with that first, okay? You want to be able to lead and you want to be able to give of yourself. And that requires a degree of self-possession and self-mastery, which again, comes with time. You may have already been in a relationship and maybe the door closed. Maybe it didn't work out. Don't just jump straight into the next one. Take what I've said in this video and really discern and figure out, what should I be doing right now? Should I be trying to find a spouse, find a girl with whom to discern marriage? Or do I actually just need to focus on myself for a bit? And I think if you're genuine and honest with yourself, you will know the answer to that question. But you have to ask it, all right? You have to ask that question of yourself and ask it of God in prayer. So that's what I'll leave you with today. I know it's a bit of a shorter one, but I really wanted to introduce these concepts in a more compact format. I've talked about relationships, we've talked about validation on the podcast, but here are 3 signs why God might be calling you to be single right now. Stay tuned for the next video. We're dropping 2 a week here on the channel. Follow me on Instagram. I'm on X as well now. And you can listen to all of these videos in audio form through Spotify and Apple Podcasts. May God bless you.